The FBI and Justice Department didn't really come out and accuse the universities of doing anything particularly wrong, but clearly you could see by the university's reaction to these charges that they feel the onus is on them to do a little more work to ensure that they aren't having some of their own employees cheat their own systems.
Right. So I guess that's a little bit more oversight, Devlin, about, when those lists are provided, but then do they have the resources to do that kind of due diligence? I'm also wondering, let's say you're the SAT or the ACT. There were many examples where a student would test a 1040 on the PSAT, all of a sudden get a 1440 on the SAT. Should they be using big data or something like that to identify students with those kinds of disparities, or test centers where all of a sudden there's a high population of high scores?
Well, I think the answer there is a little more mechanically simple, and that is that the testing programs have allowed kids increasingly to take tests on their own in sort of like very closed settings where they're not part of a big group, where there's not a bunch of eyeballs watching the process, where it's just a one-on-one environment. And that is the environment these indictments show is clearly ripe for abuse and ripe for bribery and ripe for cheating, because that's, according to the feds, what happened.
Yeah, and Devlin, even today we're seeing some of the celebrities who, they're being taken by the police, and the question, I guess, now is what kind of punishments are we talking for them? Because if this is an isolated incident, or if it's not, should the students be the ones to suffer? Are the parents likely to go to prison? What do you think?
Well, the students so far have not been charged with anything, and I don't expect them to be charged with anything. It'll be interesting to see if some of the schools decide that they have to take some action on the students, but I guess at this point I'd still be a little surprised if that's where this ends up. I think on the parents it's a more interesting question, because some of these parents, if you look at Felicity Huffman, the actress, she paid, according to the feds, about $15,000. That shouldn't by itself generate any kind of significant prison time, assuming she doesn't have a prior record or assuming there's nothing else to find there. However, another set of parents paid $1.2 million to bribe their kids' way into Yale. That's a lot of money, and under federal sentencing guidelines, that could mean real prison time.
I also wonder, Eric, about the NCAA. This is another black eye for them. They just had the conviction of the Adidas guys who were involved.
Several coaches and Adidas executive, runners for agents, that type of thing.
So not to conflate the two, but are they going to have to do more work to make sure that these programs don't become this side door or back door?
Well, it's funny because in that case, the schools were paying the kids to come to their school. In this case, with these celebrities and rich people, they're paying the school to get their kids in. So sports can be, in a way, the marketplace for, if you're really good, we'll pay you. And if you're a really terrible student with rich parents, then you pay us to come in.
Yeah, I just wonder what the ripple effects from this are likely to be. Because of Title IX, they have to be so careful about the offerings.
And then there's students that want to get paid, and the judge in California just said you might be able to pay the big athletes, the football and basketball guys. They can get bigger scholarships because they're bringing in revenue. All these sports, remember, they were not bringing in any revenue, so no one really cared as much if they won or lost. They're not on TV, they're not on ESPN, so you can play games with that kind of thing.
All right.